we go. Pankration Philosophy, episode 164. I'm your host, Pocholo Cruz. Hello, listeners and also viewers on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see. Before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out all the people that support us on Patreon. That's patreon.com. You can find us at patreon.com/pankration. Shout out to Ryan Wang, Tom Kravitz, and Shiloh Cleofi. Thanks for supporting us on Patreon. Thank you to Habrock Sports. It's Habrock Sports. They got BJJ gear, MMA gear, and also sports nutrition. Find them at habrocksports.com. You can also use promo code Pankration at the store. And then thank you to Floating Forest giving me the intro music for this podcast. And yeah, enough shout outs out of the way. I'd like to bring on my guests. Hello, Michael Briggs, aka Bonafide Boxing. How are you?
That was impressive. He did that with no notes. That was impressive. I was like, oh man, what is he reading? And he wasn't reading anything. I'm just joking. Good to see you though, man. I missed you.
Yeah, man, I miss you too, man.
Yeah.
But I know you've been doing the coaching thing, like for sure. How's that been for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, everything shut down, so
Yeah.
I just had to figure out wherever I could coach, and then fortunate that we know some people that were able to get me into small private sessions, and then fortunate enough that we know people that have like room to train at their house.
Yeah.
So I had to move back from West Seattle back to the east side, which was something I was planning on doing anyways, but Seattle was falling apart too, so I was like, I need to get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. Before it collapses.
Yeah. Well, the bridge was about to.
Yeah.
And who knows what else was about to. So I was like, I'm getting out of here. So West Seattle just wasn't. I love it out there, and I wanted to stay out there for a while, but it wasn't realistic once everything shut down for like me to have to work out here for 6 hours a day and live out there. So so just had to go from place to place and start picking up privates, and then things just started picking up like more and more to where now where now some days I'll have like 5 or 6 in a day, but I really had to like start limiting it because I would be exhausted too because I was trying to train myself.
Got it.
And
Just
the thing is,
tiring yourself out.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
overextending yourself in a way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had to just cut back, but and it's all about time management, because it's like, okay, if I manage my time better, then I won't be so exhausted. That was part of moving out to the east side as well. Okay. Because it made it so much easier.
So then, like, reaching your clients and such.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then a question about, so I know you just recently started a YouTube channel, Bonafide Boxing, on YouTube.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then so like I guess what came about with that? Was that just like a natural thing? Did someone suggest that to you?
So I mean, funny enough, like I mean, people have always suggested it to me, but one of the people that stuck out to me, like probably like 4 or 5 years ago, was Michael Kim.
Oh, really?
He came in. He came in from New York.
Yes.
And he was like, man, you really need to start a YouTube channel, because remember he moved out to New York.
Yeah.
And he was saying that there wasn't as many coaches as good as I was out there.
Oh, really? Like, he moved to New York City.
Yeah. And I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, New York, you have probably 30 billion places
you'd
to train.
assume with just like all the places to train, right?
And he was like, he was like, the stuff you're showing, he was like, you really need to make a YouTube channel. So that was something that stuck out to me. That was a long time ago. Okay. But I really never had the time or resources to try to put back into it. I was always so focused on like taking care of other things that really in the grand scheme like weren't that important, but you're just like focused on the grind, so you're like so you get kind of tunnel vision. And then like Corona was a good thing because it made everybody step back, so I was able to be like, okay, what should I actually be focusing on to increase my value? Because it's all about increasing your value. Like with what I'm trying to do, I need to make sure that I've already put in 20 years of martial arts experience,
for sure,
and barely anybody knows who the hell I am.
Yeah.
So it was like, all right, now I need to. So, I took a step back a couple of years ago, and then went and just focused on like education, and went through like strength training programs,
like
and conditioning programs.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So I was getting certified in a lot of different things, like through Kabuki Strength Lab, through functional range conditioning, through Joel Jamieson, Bioforce. So I was doing a lot of different certs, and then I got hooked up with Luca Hosever, obviously, as well, through Joel. And then he was like pretty much gave me a home place, gave me a home base to train out of, and be able to like film there as well, because that was the other thing too, is like you know, we always didn't have the opportunity to film before.
Yes.
Because we were kind of always told that we couldn't film.
Yeah.
So now that I was able to film again, or now that I actually had a place that I was able to film.
A place in a venue and like a stage, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah. And people that were like supported what I was trying to do, instead of people that would like tell you, hey, maybe don't do that, you know. So finally I was just around enough people that were good enough to support me. And then I was lucky because my girlfriend bought like a 4K camera and a gimbal, and and she wanted to start like a little production program or company of her own.
Okay.
And she named it after her dog. She has like a little cute Maltese named Winnie, so she named a production company like I think it's just Winnie Production Co.
Winnie Production Company.
Yeah, or something.
So all these forces kind of just came in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, literally. Yeah. So then she started doing her thing and made her like little kids channel and is doing stuff with friends. She has a channel like Winnie and Friends. I forget exactly the name of the channel. But I think it's Winnie and Friends.
Winnie and Friends. Okay.
Yeah, but either way, so it's like a little kids channel, you know, where they play with dolls, and I didn't even know that was a thing, but it's really popular apparently.
Okay.
Where like kids watch people play with dolls. Man, it'll get like 35 million views. They're not her videos, but like videos like
videos of that type.
Yeah, in like 3 months time period, they'll get like crazy amount of views. Little kids are crazy, you know.
I know it's pretty crazy just the kind of streaming like opportunities there are out there, you know, because if you say name a channel, there's like a channel for it,
right? Well, and then not only that, there's probably a channel with, you know, a few million subscribers that you know, you didn't even know, let alone you didn't know it was a genre, let alone that these people make $600,000 a month or something, you know. So you're like, wait, what? This is a real thing?
Exactly.
And I always knew that I had like quality content, quality knowledge. I just needed like I said, the platform to be able to put it out.
Yeah, platform, like a scope essentially for people to see you.
Yeah.
Like, from there. Okay.
Yeah, and so, I mean, you know, I've worked with, like, we've worked with so many people, but nobody even knows who the heck we've worked with. So it's like, over time, you know, from 2002 on, you know, I've worked with, like, too many people to even list, but at the same time, like I said, nobody even knew we existed practically. So, and that's the thing is that like I started in 2002 down in Portland at Team Quest.
Yes. And
then I was there 02, 03, moved, trained under Matt, and then, you know, was at AMC pretty much until everything got shut down from Corona. Yeah. And then had to pretty much branch out, do my own thing. And then, like you said, you know, now that we got the Bonafide Boxing YouTube channel, right now the only content that we were able to film was like following me while I'm doing my training sessions. Yeah. Yeah. But I was actually supposed to film last Thursday and do some instructionals. But it was funny. He ended up Mario Lopez had an interview with Luca.
Oh, really?
So my filming
AC Slater?
Yeah. Well, so I said I got beef with this guy now. I said we're gonna have to set up a celebrity boxing match. And then sure enough, like
apparently that's a big thing nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, oh, I gotta set up a celebrity boxing match with AC Slater, and then sure enough, Ryan, our friend Ishmael, sends me a thing saying that Ben Askren was trying to take that fight. And I said, this motherfucker's trying to take everything I work for. You know what I'm saying?
Calling you out, Ben Askren.
Bro, man. So I was like, you know, after Ben takes care of Jake Paul and I take care of AC Slater, I'm going to have to beat up both of them. I'm just joking. You know? No. But it was just, good jokes. But no, so seriously, he ended up having to do that. So I wasn't able to film some of the instructionals, but I'm definitely going to get instructionals out for just all basics, like start with footwork, where to put your hands, where to put your feet, how to move, how to evasive movements, blocking punches, and then pretty much move on from there to like actual technique of punches, combinations, and then in between that, I'll also release like little pad sessions as well, because I love like combinations and different pad sessions. So there'll be like some instructionals, and then every once in a while it'll be like, hey, here's some, like how I had before where we would do it on Instagram, and we'd be like, hey guys, we're gonna do a 1-2 and slip this, and then we're gonna do this. So I'll just do a bunch of those as well.
Do like pad breakdowns, like from there.
And just like build up, you know, because a lot of stuff I wanted to do would build up to like 9 or 10, 12 punches.
Got it.
But then it would be too much, and so sometimes people would be like, what are you doing? This isn't what
maybe like segment them.
So that's what I would do. I'd have like I would start it out 5 or 6, and then we would add 2 or 3, add 2 or 3, add 2 or 3.
Got it.
But sometimes people halfway through are forgetting what's happening, you know. But then I see people like Damian Trainer putting out these 9, 10, 12 punch combinations, and don't get me wrong, it's not like we're sitting there trying to like land every single punch, but it's about having that movement, that muscle memory of being able to throw
and being able to flow from it.
Exactly, and being able to actually throw different combinations as well, because we get so set into certain patterns that you're so used to throwing a 1-2-3, you go throw a 1-2 lead uppercut, and then you're like, or people.
Your body's almost like just not as used to throwing them.
100%, and I want to be able to throw anything at any time.
Okay.
Always ready is my motto. Like, I don't want to actually be like, I don't want to be in a position where I'm like, well, I could only maybe throw this. It's like, no, I want to have as many options as possible, and that's what I like to like think about for the system that I want to approach for striking is I'm always putting myself to have as many options as possible and limit their options. If I limit your options and I have a lot of options, then I'm gonna be better off. Even if I'm defensive, I need to have options. I can't be defensive with like 1 or 2 options. And that's usually about posture and footwork too.
Okay.
If you have shit posture, then first of all, one, this fight could be stopped because everyone's like, oh, look at, you're either bent over, you're too far back or something. And then 2, so if you have shit posture, you're going to look like it could get stopped. And then if you have bad footwork, then your feet aren't going to be underneath you. It's going to look like it should be stopped. But either way, sorry, I'll let you go.
No, it's okay. Yeah, because you're pretty much talking about how you're like building blocks of an instructional building blocks of like a system like from there. Whereas it's like it doesn't really matter. Sometimes like, I mean, we talk about posture and footwork. That's kind of like the more the foundational kind of things. Whereas like combos, those are a little bit more towards the middle or towards the top. Whereas if you don't have like the footwork or the posture, then maybe like that doesn't really matter what punches you're throwing.
Those things are exactly. So we could work on like 16 punch combinations, but if you're not actually like in position to throw 16 punches, it doesn't matter.
The 16 punches aren't useful.
Yeah, exactly. Or they're like a lot of garbage. They're just going to be garbage that's going to get you hurt. So it's but at the same time, I don't even I say bona fide boxing, but it's like it's not my system. It's many systems that I've like put together. Yeah, exactly. Because I've been around for a long time and I've studied under a lot of people, and then spent a lot of time in just it. Like when everything shut down, I didn't stop training. Everyone shut down. I was in the gym 5, 6, 7 days a week, working my ass off, and then I was like, okay, I need to start getting clients. And like I really appreciate those people because a lot of people were not trying to work with anybody because everyone was scared, so I was I was very fortunate that I had a group of people that trusted like me to be smart. I wasn't gonna be completely quarantined, but I wasn't gonna also be unsafe. So it's like and then everyone, I didn't work with one client that got sick. At least not through me, or nobody 2 people that I worked with got sick, but not through me. But either way, so that's irrelevant. It's just like I was very fortunate that I was able to have a lot of people that I could work with. And then what ended up happening was, okay, I'm training. I wasn't working anywhere else, so I'm training 16 hours a week, and then I'm getting 10, 12, 15 clients a week, if not 17 clients a week or something. And then it's like, okay, I'm training for 17 hours with these people plus 15 hours myself, so I'm literally getting over 30 hours of training in, plus a couple hours of film study every day because I had the time. So I'm like, why not? So I'm starting to do. It was just crazy the amount of work that I was able to put in. And I actually feel like from the amount of time that things have closed to now, like I'm a way better coach than I was then even. And I felt like I was a good coach then.
Exactly.
But so it's like, and with that level of improvement and increasing my value, I'm like, I know that I can even learn more and then get better and better. And like so
finding your process.
And with the things being like as closed as they are here, and it's not even sure when we're going to be able to do things. It's like I was like looking into signing up for like USA Boxing because we never like participated in those things. We always had our own thing going on with our old gym or our gym in general. Just it's not open right now, but we never had like USA. We were never affiliated with USA Boxing, and it's like, okay, I was gonna go get USA Boxing certified, and that way, whatever happened, I can at least get start getting some of my people boxing matches, and then work from there. It's like until things are like open back up, we need to have as many options as possible. I'm tired, like. I'm not tired of it. I love watching. I love watching it, but I send like some of our friends videos almost every day of like Henry Hooft and Rafael Cordero and all these guys that got 50 people in their gym.
Yeah.
And, you know, Henry Hoof's gym is half of the UFC, half of one championship, half of Bellator. You know, if it wasn't for Henry Hoof's gym, those half the UFC fights and half the Bellator fights, like one champion, those fights wouldn't be happening, you know? One championship.
Yeah, because he's supplying the fighter. Yeah.
He's supplying all their champions, you know? The
guy,
one of the guys that just fought, one of the other guys from Burma, Myanmar, or whatever, he just fought, he trains out there. And it's like all those guys train over there. And so, guess what? They've probably been improving in the amount of time they've been training while we're not allowed to train. So it's very frustrating for me from that sense. I probably shouldn't be talking about this right now because my girlfriend's like, shut up. So that way you don't lose clients. But, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's very frustrating for us because it's like...
You got to utilize the time.
And also... Our athletes they're not going to, time in pause. It wasn't like, hey, you're 32, you won't be 33 next year. You know, you'll still stay 30. So you know what I'm saying? It's So for us, our athletes.
We're not holding time in a bottle here.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So
the time is now.
Yes. Like, our athletes were missing out.
Yeah.
Sorry. Had to do that. But, so I just felt like our athletes were missing out and I was missing out. I'm like, you know, I've never thought about leaving here, and now I'm like, my brother's talked about moving to Texas for a long time. I'm like, we're moving to Texas. We'll go to Florida. You know, we're going to travel. I'm like, we'll go to wherever we need to go to actually be able to
train.
And actually, you know, have a team that can train instead of having to shut everything down, man. It's not, it was very unexpected, but it's like, hey, I always told, you know, one of the things I always tell people is, hey, man, the only thing you can ever expect is change because that's only constant.
Yeah.
And I always tell people too, I'm like, that's why you have to appreciate everything that as much as like appreciate every moment because everything's going to change always. So even if you think that nothing ever changes, everything could change in a heartbeat and everything did change in a heartbeat. Right. So it was like,
for sure.
I'm so glad that I had the experiences I had, but it's like we couldn't just stop.
Yeah,
you know,
you gotta make the most of the time that you have.
Yeah, and that was the thing too. Is then like, you know, like I said, I'm sitting here watching these guys have full on training camps, you know, and you're just like, it's frustrating.
You gotta make moves. You gotta do something.
Right, right, because they're all getting better.
Yeah, they're not gonna. Oh, you're not doing anything. Well, I'll just stop and
we'll just wait. Yeah, we'll wait. Yeah, we won't go get our black belt because you guys can't train. Yeah, you know, it's like what the hell, and I feel really bad, you know, for people like Nate Orchard that just opened a gym in Seattle and and then it was getting
or pretty much any
all of those guys, but that's just an example because I've met him a couple times and he seemed really nice, and so I just felt like, man, people like that it was really unfortunate how things changed, you know, and how quickly they were forced to shut down. What was funny too is like, where'd I always work? I always worked in restaurants and gyms because people said no matter where you're at in the world, you know, you can get a job at like restaurants or gyms, or fitness. Gym. Yep. Restaurants or gyms. They're always in fitness. Yeah. And the
key thing, like first thing's shut down. Yeah.
And still closed.
And still closed to this day.
Much. Yeah, right. But, it's like, or like, you know, things are slowly opening back up, but at the same time, like, you know, watching these guys just get better and better and better while we're stagnant or supposed to. You know, it was like, what are we supposed to do? Like, of course, I'm going to go out and make the most of everything I can every day that I can. And so that's what I did. And that's, you know, what ended up happening. So finally now the YouTube page came out 12 years after Mike Kim asked for it. I'm just kidding.
Hey, better late than never.
Shout out Mike Kim.
Mike Kim. Yeah.
Do you still talk to him at all?
No, but Mike Kim, if you're watching, you better subscribe.
Yeah, both of them. Both of us. Yeah. If you don't subscribe, both of us.
Yeah, I'll share this with them. But so I guess in terms of, you know, your plan for, you know, Bonafide Boxing for your, you know, for your coaching, is there any do you have any goals, or is there anything you're trying to, I guess, what are you working on?
So right now it's like the thing is, I've always said, so they say like what 5% or 9 out of 10 businesses fail in the first 5 years, and another 9 out of 10 fail the next 5 years after that. So 99% of business failed 10 years, and it's like, okay, well, I need to make sure that I don't try to go too fast. Because a lot of people right now are like, you need to do this and this and this, and then get property and this and this, and it's like, I'm gonna be patient. So right now, I'm training out of Luca's gym 3 days a week. Right now, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. And so I'm just fortunate enough that pretty much like as long as he doesn't have events going on or big things going on, then I'm able to use his gym.
Yeah, with space to work.
Yeah, and then I work with like a lot of his clients, and then he's allowed me to bring even my clients in. So he's been pretty much like a real huge blessing for me right now. But so I've been there 3 days a week. And then and then the other 3 days a week or 4 days a week, I'll either go to people's houses or other gyms. So I've just been trying to travel around as much as possible. So, because right now I'm charging $100 an hour per session, or $100 an hour per private, which is about an hour session. And sometimes it goes a little longer because I'm crazy and I'll talk if I don't have like more scheduled, then I'll probably end up talking for like half an hour extra because I'm crazy.
Yeah.
But anyways. So I'll move on with like 2 or 3 a day, depending on those days where I'll have to actually travel from location to location. But I'm also training as well, either at friends' houses or pretty much just wherever I can. If I can find an open gym, I'll try to find training. But anyways, so do you hear that noise?
Yeah, it's just the heater.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, man, what is that?
Yeah,
I thought somebody's about to drive a car.
Is it an airplane?
Yeah, I'm like, dude, is somebody about to drive a car through here?
Yeah.
But anyways, sorry about that. I was gonna say. So on those days, I don't like to take more than like 2 or 3 privates because I'm also gonna train myself, and if I have to drive like an hour here or there, it's like that's gonna be frustrating, right?
Got it.
So so those days I'll only take like 2 or 3. So until I have my own place, then I probably will start taking like 5 or more. But the thing is, I'm still waiting to see what happens with AMC as well.
Yeah.
So because as soon as Matt opens AMC back up, I'm planning on coaching there.
Yeah.
And then also still coaching like wherever I can as well, wherever I'm going to get paid like my value.
Yeah.
So and then who knows what's going to happen if he's going to keep it private or whatever's going to happen. So in that amount of time, I'm just pretty much growing my brand. I'll start doing as many YouTube videos as possible, see what happens from that.
Yeah.
And then just the thing about it is, like, right now I'm so busy with privates that I'm able to pretty much select which clients I'm working with, and which it's good, but it's also sad because it's like I want to work with more people, but at the same time, like I have to make sure that I'm like able to teach the people that I can. I don't want to show up a zombie, I don't want to show up, because that's what ended up happening when I was trying to take like over 20 a week.
Yeah.
And I would show up.
You would overextend yourself.
Well, sometimes I'd be like, I'd feel like I was checked out, and I was like, I don't want to feel like I'm checked out of this private.
You
I
want to give
make
like
sure.
100%.
Yeah, exactly. And so sometimes I was showing up and I was like, oh man, I'm a zombie right now. I haven't eaten in 4 hours, like straight coaching through, and then so you just start losing your mind. Yeah. You're like, what am I doing? So anyway, so I quit, or like I started just trying to make, like I said, better time management, and so making sure that the people I was seeing, they were getting the most out of me, but then also that I was able to like still get the most out of myself in my own workouts, and then in my own. Because then the other thing is too, if I'm trying to do a study session and you're that tired, then you don't feel like you'll watch an hour's worth of film study,
but you're not actually taking it in.
Yeah,
It's just like passing by.
Right. You learn something maybe the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's the thing too. Sometimes I'll even just try to do 20-minute chunks.
Just shorten it.
Exactly. Yeah. I read the book Atomic Habits, and it's like talk about like the 2-minute rule of doing something like. If a long time, if you think you want to start a habit, but it feels like it's going to be too much, you just start it with 2 minutes a day. So it's like, so sometimes
and build up on it.
Yeah. So sometimes I'll even just watch 2 to 5 minutes worth of video, and that will usually end up turning into 15 or 20 minutes worth. But I started like trying to apply that rule to film study and training. Well, I mean, obviously for training, I was going to show up and put in like my time no matter what. But I started trying to apply that rule for film study, and obviously just like other random things in life, and it ended up working really well. Like I said, I was able to start doing a lot more. But at the same time, if I wasn't aware, then I would just lose it all. So
it's like that awareness and being able to actively participate is an important part of that. So I guess in terms of like film study, because I think that is a common thing, it's almost how people think the more I put in the more I do X, then the Y must happen like from there. I think like with film study, it's like what do you look for when you're studying film? Like you said, like maybe 2 to 5 minutes, or it turns into 15, 20, but you're trying to be sure you're active throughout the whole time. So how do you think you get the most out of when you study film?
So it depends on if I'm actually watching fights or watching an instructional, right? Okay. If you're watching, and both even though, because sometimes you're watching an instructional and you'll check out too. Okay. And then sometimes you're watching, so I'll either The film study I'll try to do a film study for my client. So if I have a client that's taller, lengthy, and I'm like, okay, who do I want you to fight? Like, who would I want you to emulate?
Got it.
So I'll try to find it, because the thing is like
a body type that would fit.
But also maybe even match athleticism, because some people are tall and not athletic. Some people are tall and athletic. Some people are short and athletic. Some people are short and not athletic, right? And then some people are southpaw. Some people are orthodox. Some people have power. Some people have cardio. Some, so it's like, okay,
what are their physical traits?
Yeah. Like, I'll literally try to like find somebody that I can watch to find that they could emulate. So I'll either do those type of film studies, or if it's fighters that I like, I'm always watching. The thing that I look for in film study is so funny, because I'll watch a fight that some people might think is boring, and I'll be like, oh my, as long as the guys like have good footwork and posture, and they're able to present the threat of danger, it's exciting to me.
Because you see and you can realize what's happening from there.
The present threat of danger is there. People might be bored out of their mind because they see these guys fainting,
but it's because they don't understand what they're seeing.
Right. Yeah. Right. And so like I was like, so for the first like 6 rounds of the Lomo fight, when everyone's versus Teofimo, and there's like, oh, Lomo's not fighting, and I'm like, man, you see like the little things
they're not seeing what's really happening.
Yeah. And it was just little things Teo was doing, but also like, and so to me, I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh, I'm like jumping out of my chair, and like, oh, my heart's going through the roof. And so
because you understand like the danger that's being presented.
Yes.
Whereas like the layperson would see it and they go like, no, they're not really doing anything.
And also to realize like what he was able to do with Lomo with these like
and little able to control
and like I said, so much of it is about footwork and posture, and people don't realize how much they watch posture, but you're never going to see a fight stopped where a guy has really good posture, because as long as he has good posture, and if the ref stops it, people are going to go, what the heck? This guy was still able to fight back.
Yeah, because his presence is showing
that he can still fight. But if your posture goes, you slump down, then people are like, maybe this fight should be stopped. Or your posture's like falling backwards because you can't, you have no equilibrium, right?
That's the image you're conveying from there.
And that's just posture. So people are watching posture whether you realize it or not.
Whether they're understanding what they're seeing.
Exactly.
They can still see it.
Right.
Or they still can, but it's visual for them.
Right. Yeah. But the thing is when both guys have good posture and are presenting threats of danger, people don't always see that, right? They'll see a guy, and then it slumps down. They're like, bad posture. We're excited. He's killing this guy.
Yeah. But it's very obvious. Whereas like the not so obvious like threats and feints and other movements from there.
That's what gets me excited, because I'm like, oh, both these guys are good. And that was one of the things that like I liked about what Matt taught us, is like, sometimes if you knock a guy out early, it's not because you were good. It was because
you sucked.
Yeah, exactly.
It's understanding. It's like, exactly.
So I love that about that. Oh, you choked that guy out real quickly?
Well, he sucked.
Yeah, he sucked.
That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when you can see high-level guys present those threats, and they're both presenting like, it's, what is Joe call it, like chess with dire consequences, or high level.
It's like high level consequences.
Yeah,
it's like
high level chess with dire
physical consequences.
Yeah, that's what he says, exactly. Yeah. But I mean the same thing with boxing, right? Or just all martial arts, because that's the thing. I won't just film study boxers. I'll film study Muay Thai, kickboxing, wrestling, like grappling, like whatever it is. I'll film study probably more than I even should for the subject. Just because I feel like I also have like that hunger to learn.
For sure.
But either way, so when I'm watching fights, I'm always watching for footwork, posture, and I'll explain it to the people that I work with.
Which is ever present throughout all those combat sports that a lot of people may not realize.
Yeah, and so one of the things is too is like, so people will think like, oh, like Khabib's pressure and posture, and you watch the way he's able to posture, and he's posturing like from his back foot. He's not posturing like getting heavy in his chest. So he's always like able to be there, and it's like he's always ready. He can always present that threat of the takedown, or he can always hit you in the face. And his striking was like kind of slept on. Sometimes you'll see some of his shadow boxing, and you're like, man, this guy's freaking actually got some legit striking. But he's able to like pressure and do so many things so well. But once again, like, it's all about posture. And it's so funny because I'll preach that so often, and then I'll listen to an interview with like DJ, and he'll talk about somebody, and he'll be like, yeah, but that guy's posture sucked. And I'll be like, yes. It's so funny how like we're so instilled. Someone gets it. I'm like, we're so instilled. I don't know if it's Matt that instilled us or just him and I, and then a few. I mean, obviously there's other coaches that notice those types of things, but it's like you're not going to get caught in that guillotine if you didn't have shit posture in the first place. You know, you're not going to get caught in a lot of these things if you don't let these guys break your posture. You don't let these people put you in a bad position footwork wise till they were able to get you in this position to break down your posture, right? If my feet are in the right place and my posture is correct, I'm always able to hit people. If my feet are right and my posture is right, and I'm always able to hit you, take you down, knee you in the face, give all these threats. That was one of the things that was so impressive with like Corey Sandhagen this weekend.
Oh yes, for sure.
Man, was like Frankie actually came out and it was like, oh, Frankie looks like he's moving well.
Yeah, Frankie's like he's trying to pressure him. Yeah,
well.
trying to pressure him.
Trying to pressure him well.
Yes,
and then
like it wasn't. I mean, back to what we said earlier. It's not like if someone knocks out a guy and they sucked, I'm like, well, okay, that happened.
Right.
But it's like no, that was someone. Like Frankie came in with a game plan, like I'm gonna try and like get in his face, pressure him towards the fence, try to utilize my wrestling like from there, and then like in 30 seconds, Sandhagen was able to figure it out and hit the off switch. That was very, very impressive.
It was crazy.
From there,
that was
of course,
impressive.
like any person that sees it would be impressed, but like the setup to it and how he did it, and against the caliber of person, that makes it all the more impressive.
Right. And like I said, it wasn't like Frankie was like showing signs like his feet were off or something, you know?
Yeah.
So there's these like little games that happen that are, and sometimes they happen in 28 seconds and it's crazy, but like, you know, it wasn't like Frankie was really doing too much wrong. He just kind of left that right up the middle. No. What was funny though was I was actually talking to one of my clients right before, I think like Thursday or Friday, about how a lot of the Dutch guys love the knee up the middle. Yeah. Because a lot of guys with like the traditional, the traditional American boxing, we're not really like
expecting something straight up,
especially that knee right there. So a lot of the guys that do really good kickboxing or traditional boxing are still like open for that knee. And you see guys like the immortal Reggie and Earsol, I don't even know how to say his name, unfortunately, but I love the guy as a kickboxer. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? The one championship guy that beat Nicky Holtzkin.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
I don't know if it's Regian or Regian.
I think I know what you're talking about. You know, I don't know how to pronounce his name either.
Regian, you know, so I don't know if it's Regian or Regian, but either way, he's got some of the most beautiful knees right up the middle, pop, 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 and then throws it
and just slicing through from there.
And they're crazy because they go so high.
I think it's Nicky Holtzkin, who's not a bad.
Who's also one of the best, you know. And so, but at the same time, like you'll see a lot of those Dutch guys, or not a lot of them, but you'll see some of them throw that like high knee right up the middle, and it's beautiful to me. And so I was just talking about to one of my guys about how that's one of the things that you should be weary of when you are trying to use this like really good head movement. And obviously we don't want to use too much head movement in like kickboxing or MMA in the first place as much as
where knees and kicks are present
exactly relative to what you want to use in boxing, right? But at the same time you still want to have good head movement. You always want to have good head movement.
It's like that balance, like,
right? You know, just not move too much, but it wasn't like he was even moving it too much. It just boom right.
No, it was. I think the biggest thing that I saw from that was how Sandhagen was able to change direction and literally got Frankie to walk right into it. Like there's like, wow, that's like split second. There was literally almost nothing he could have done.
Right.
To prevent that from happening.
And like the thing is when you know it's in somebody's arsenal, you can be present of it. But he wasn't like, that's something that as most strikers, we're not thinking of that, you know? So it was really beautiful. I love little things like that. I don't remember what brought me to that, but either way, maybe I was talking about like posture.
We were talking about film study, and then talking about like posture, and then how that helps from there, and then we were talking about how postureful work and the threats, and understanding the little things that lead to spectacular knockout like that. Like once again, if you just saw like the aesthetics of just Sandhagen knocking out like Edgar, okay, that's real impressive. But if you see like the lead up to it, there's a lot of great stuff that's happening there, and it's like once again, it's two competent martial artists. It's not like I say hey, just into some bum off the street,
right?
Just like that's Frank Yeager, who didn't come in with
was it number 520?
Yeah.
That type of stuff is impressive. But and then so when I'm watching fight film study, I'll either be watching stuff for my clients, or if I'm watching it for myself, I'll like to watch how like different people will fight, because I love learning different styles. So I like to watch how if somebody likes to throw long combinations, I want to see how they're able to pull those off. Okay. If somebody wants to throw single shots, I want to see how they're able to pull those off and be successful with it. If somebody, so it's like
seeing like different styles.
Yeah, exactly. So and so many people like always slept on Joe Calzaghe, and I absolutely loved him, you know, and I love his documentary.
I think still to this day, really, like,
oh yeah,
because a lot of people don't really understand. I think a lot of people still don't really understood like what he was doing, what he was able to accomplish.
Right.
Like if you look at his, like, I mean, not that records mean everything, but if you look at his record, he beat like
everybody.
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah. And then the thing was too is he didn't really get a fair share. When you watch the documentary, you learn about how many hand problems he always had.
Yeah.
And a dude that's trying to throw, you know, so many freaking hundreds of punches
with glass hands.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's impressive. Yeah.
And so, and apparently he was like not able to like spar for a lot of the fights, and so, but he was still a world champion and undefeated for so long. So, but the way he was able to get off combinations, turn, I'm like, I would appreciate people like that, and then I was appreciative of, like I said, and then there's different people that will knock people out in one punch. So I'm always trying to study different styles for myself as well as for my clients, and then I'll study, okay, is this guy tall? Is this guy skinny? Is this guy fast? Is this guy strong? Which of my clients would this apply to? Mm-hmm. So I'll either watch them for myself or for my clients, or just for, you know, what works in general, okay? Because people will be like, long combinations aren't real. Long punch combinations aren't real. And then I'll be like, okay, well, here's David Benavidez bouncing somebody's head around in an 18-punch combination.
Yeah.
Pow, 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 and then they're out. And it's like, okay, well, that worked.
That seemed pretty real.
Yeah, exactly. That actually worked.
Yeah.
So it's, but at the same time, yeah, maybe some people aren't able to get off those combinations. Mm-hmm. And maybe he's not able to get off those combinations against everybody. But at the same time, that was a real fight. He made money from that fight. That really happened. And that was against a real opponent. So I could at least teach one of my amateur guys to do that against another amateur, hopefully, or we'll at least learn from that to things we can do from long combinations, short combinations, how to set things up. Do you want to slip and throw 1 or 2? Do you want to slip and throw 18? You know, the thing is too is like I love Teddy. Always says he's like, that's not for the fighter to or that's not for the coach to decide. That's for this fighter to decide, because he's the one that's in there.
That's actually doing it.
Exactly. And he's like, coach will shout combinations. He's like, but what does that even mean? You're the one in there. And I love that because it's so true. Because how many times has that happened to us?
Yeah.
Where you're like, you asked for what? And you're like, what? What? You want me to throw how many punches right now? You know. So you're like, I'm getting 1, 2 off, and then so much is happening in between now and then. And don't get me wrong, as you get better, you start to feel it and trust more or see things better. But
I think understanding the fighter, I think that's pretty much a great point that Teddy Atlas is pointing out. It's like, just because it's not up to the caliber of coach. The coach needs to understand the caliber of the person they're training.
Yeah.
And what they can accomplish from there.
Yeah, 100%.
You know? You can't just say like, oh hey, how about you go dunk that basketball like right now.
Head movement.
Yes.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That can mean a lot. Yeah. That's like, hey, move.
Yeah, exactly.
Punches. Try to hit them. Don't let them hit you. It's like, cool. Hey, try to win.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Can you try to win?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's whatever you make it out to be.
Yeah.
I'm just joking.
But yeah, so I guess essentially it's like dissecting like the why and getting, trying to figure out, okay, so how did they get to that point, or figuring out like, not exactly just how something works, but why it worked.
Yeah.
Like, from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or what's capable of working.
Yeah.
Because like I said, you know, some of my clients will be like, this isn't realistic, or this isn't realistic. And a lot of times too, one of the things is like, nobody ever has people actually like usually hit somebody until they have them like spar. And the thing is like, if you're used to hitting pads, a 1, 2, 3 on a pad is way different than a 1, 2, 3 on a person. You know, and whether they're blocking it or not blocking it, you know, so
there's so many different variables
of where I'm going to turn the punch over and how I want to step, where we want to land, all of this stuff, where the distance we want to keep. So all this stuff is so relative. So what I usually do with my clients is I'll have them actually like punch at me while I'm covering. We'll do drills like that where you actually get to feel how to hit somebody, like hitting an actual person, not just like pads. And it's not like we have to do it hard, but you need to actually learn how to hit somebody, and not only hit somebody, but hit somebody while they're moving. And hitting a moving target. Exactly. Yes. Instead of hitting pads while you're moving or this and that. So much of that can be so choreographed. When you're trying to actually step around and find somebody's liver, there's nothing else than actually having to step around and find somebody's liver. Can you just stand right there while I hit you in the liver? Yeah, versus me moving back or me trying to pivot out and then being like, okay, if they pivot out, don't go for the liver there if they're going to pivot out, right? That target doesn't exist anymore. And that's another thing that happens is So people will either not know where to punch, or one thing people do is, so I'm covered here, and they're trying to come through the middle, and you're like, okay, that target's not there. So
it's not presenting itself.
Yeah, and so many people don't understand about like how to hit through the gloves or hit through the target, and that's why I loved like one of the things that Canelo did when he busted up the guy's bicep when he's fight. Who was his last fight?
The tall British
Liam.
guy. Liam. Wait.
What was that? Liam or was Liam's
Smith?
brother? Yeah, one of the Smiths.
It was one of the Smiths. Callum Smith.
Yeah, Callum Smith. Yeah, my bad. Liam's his brother. My bad. One of the Smiths. But so. And it's funny because I always tell my clients, hey, treat people like a heavy bag that can hit you back. So if they're covered here, we can still hit people really hard. And I could still aim for the brainstem too by hitting through the hands. And the devastation that does is a lot more than trying to punch a target that didn't exist. And people will try to treat their hands like a heat-seeking missile, so they'll be like, and act like you know what I'm saying? They'll act like they can find this target because they thought they saw the liver open. But they weren't even anywhere near to actually create or hit that spot, or they'll see an opening up the middle, so they'll be like, I'm gonna do this, and then try to do, and it's like, man, put yourself there, get your posture right, put yourself in position to land those punches, move well, like learn to step while you're punching, learn how to hit a moving target, and then also the thing is too, one of the things that you're gonna have to realize is when you're trying to hit a moving target and they move well, sometimes a lot of these shots are just gonna miss. And you have to learn how to miss targets as well. Because
that's also more realistic.
And if you're exactly, highest level boxers might land.
Oh, you're not 100% accurate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, highest level boxers will land at like 36% might be a high
36% is kind of killing.
Yeah, that might be a really high percentage for a guy, right? And so that means you're landing, barely 1 out of 3, just over 1 out of 3. So. And don't get me wrong, that's usually like that guy might be a little higher on power shots and then lower on jabs or something based on percentage. But at the same time, I need to learn how to miss not just a jab. I need to learn how to miss my power shots. I need to make sure that if my hook misses, it doesn't throw me completely off balance. Mm-hmm. Or I'm not trying to go, okay, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then the guy's gone, and now I like pull my hook so it like turned into nothing. Or there's just so many things where it's like I want to make sure that I dictate my punch. Like you might move, but I'm still gonna throw that same like clean 3 and then move off of that based on where you're at now. But at the same time, I'm not gonna be like, oh, he moved, and then throw a garbage punch because they moved out of the way. And the other thing is too is like when a lot of people drill, if they know somebody's like gonna block something or they know somebody's gonna do something, they kind of throw garbage punches as well. So I really need to make sure that when people
they're not actively participating,
right? Well, they'll just
into that.
How many times
exactly. But then it's like, how is that? That's not realistic.
Oh, you want to throw that at somebody? They're gonna knock you out. They're gonna knock your back teeth out, man. Yeah. You wanted your wisdom teeth out. They'll help you with that. Yeah. No, I'm just joking.
Not a wise move.
I like to say that stuff. Yeah. But anyways, I'll be like, they'll knock your molars out, because I mean, you never know. But so as long as I'm aware of those things, we're good. But the thing is most people aren't. Most people are like, okay, I have no idea where to punch somebody when they're moving. And I'm like, okay, well, now I need to make you aware of how to punch the liver. Or even the other thing is, too, is the targets that aren't open, most people don't know how to, like, hit through a guard to actually make it hurt. They'll kind of, like, get stuck on the body, or they'll get stuck with these punches and it ends up taking away their own power, where it's like, I could still hit somebody really hard if they're blocking as long as I finish through. And like set things up well. It's stuff that I'll show on my YouTube channel and that I show in my privates. But it's like there's so many people that just teach boxing but don't actually teach people how to hit people. And I'm like, if I'm going to teach you boxing, I'm going to teach you actually. I'm making sure that the drills that we're doing are going to be beneficial to if you.
It's not just choreography.
Right. Yeah. I always say like, there's one thing about boxing is like. You'll be at some like backyard barbecue and you'll hear somebody go, "Oh, I box," and then
what does that mean?
And then some random person will call him out that never boxes but like has a bag.
Yeah.
And the person that like never boxes ends up like beating the hell out of this guy that boxes.
That boxes.
Yeah, that went to some like random fitness place or something, or thought he was like a good boxer.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I want to make sure that if my people are at a barbecue and they say, "Hey, I boxed to somebody," and somebody calls them out, that they could actually knock that guy's teeth out, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want them to be like, oh, I boxed under Michael, and they'll be like, okay, we'll put gloves on, and the person have no idea what they're doing. I want them to be able to school anybody at the barbecue to the point where they'll be like, man, this is not smart for you.
Yeah.
Sign a waiver because you're about to get your molars knocked out. You know? It's about to be a feeling.
Yeah, it's about to be a feeling. They're no longer a person at that point, right?
Exactly. So good. So good.
Oh
man.
But yeah, and
there's so many good quotes from that weekend, from that one speech.
Oh boy. Speech is a stretch there. But
Yeah, exactly.
From that mumble of words. But I think that's I think that's true. It's like bringing in that realism towards towards the study of boxing, you know, because that's the thing too. I think you mentioned a good thing. It's where people say that they box, but what does that mean? You know, because like, well, what is the substance underneath, like what underneath their teaching? I think that's true in a lot of things, right? It's like, I work out. Well, that covers a lot of stuff. Like, what do you actually do?
Right.
Do you just go in and do curls in the squat rack and then leave?
Yeah.
Like,
or maybe not even that.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they couldn't even figure that out.
Yeah, they're like, oh man, how is this supposed to go?
That might be giving somebody too much credit.
Right. I sure took a lot of pictures of the gym, and then I left. Yeah.
And the thing is, I don't want to hate anybody's journey because everyone has different goals with boxing, right? Not everyone wants to. Some people do want to just box for fitness, and I don't want to hate on that.
That's not bad.
No, it's not. Actually, I love that. And because the thing is the bigger the industry, the better I'm going to do, regardless. You know, so the more people that are out participating, the better I'm going to do. Whether they're doing what I think is legit, or if they're gonna do just something that like is literally around the corner from them to better their life. As long as that's happening, I'm all for it. But it just sucks how many people, just there is just too much garbage. And,
no, for sure. I think what you're trying to essentially do is like you're trying to dispel like the the pretty much dispel like the bullshit like from there. Yeah. Whereas it's like, just you know like you know something, but it may not exactly be what you think you know.
Right. And that's why why I think like the name of my company fit even better, like because it is bona fide. It's like, okay, this is real. This is legit. This is actually going to work. It's bona fide boxing. It's bona fide. It's not like, okay,
this guy doesn't even kick. I don't know. Who don't listen to this, man?
Exactly, right? You know, and that's the thing, right? Because people were able to say stuff like that. Well, meanwhile, it's like people that know me, like know that I kick well. You know, so it's like, and now I'm actually going to be able to start presenting these things because that's the thing is like I'll start out with boxing content, but I'll for sure get into kickboxing. I'll for sure get into Muay Thai. I'll for sure get into like all striking, because that's what I love. And that's what I feel qualified to teach. And the thing about it is like once I'm able to put out that content, then I'll feel confident that like I don't even care if people will steal it. I hope people will steal those techniques and that like not necessarily go reteach it without giving me credit, but I hope people will like use the stuff that I'm going to show in my channel so they can actually be better coaches.
So they get value from it.
Yeah,
from there.
Yeah. Because the thing is like I said, like because I love watching Teddy. Like I used to when it was then when they did ESPN Friday night fights and Tuesday night fights, I used to say Teddy Atlas was my boxing coach that I'd never met before because he would literally, like their entire boxing match, he'd be schooling on either what they should or shouldn't be doing, like what fighter A should be doing, what fighter B should be doing, and then he would give breakdowns before the fights. So it was literally like you were just getting clinics on, and most of the time it was always about real estate, right? Like, where to fight from.
The space.
Yeah, but also like, okay, if you're short, you want to be in close. If you're tall, you want to be long, things like that. But he's always, so, and one of the things I always preach to my guys that want to compete is one of the first things that you need to control is you need to establish range, because if I can't establish range, I'm going to be in for a hard night. And so anyways, that's more like strategy. I probably won't get into too many of those talks because I'm not sure how many people will watch those. People probably just like to see things get hit really fast and hard with some like music in the background.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, right? Because you get the analytics of your videos, and it's like I think like I've only released 2 videos so far, and they're each like 10 or 12 minutes or something. And then you see like the average duration time of people watching, and it's like 2 minutes and 24 seconds. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. So
if you're not hitting shit, if there's no loud music, I'm not watching.
Exactly.
You gotta give the people what they want.
So it's like 164 views. It had like an average of 2 minutes and 23 seconds. So I'm like, okay, obviously, we you need the watch hours to actually be monetized on YouTube and everything, which is the goal in the long run. But at the same time, like, I want to, so like I said, like what I put out now, it's not like it's not quality because it's me coaching. So if you actually are watching, will be able to learn from it. But I know once I start putting out instructionals and things like that people will be able to learn from. I think that will like it will provide a lot more value and like make the channel a lot bigger in my opinion. And then I really think it's only a matter of time because I know that I can teach really quality shit, and on 4K it looks really cool.
Doesn't hurt.
Exactly. But it's like I know what I teach is quality, and I know it's funny because we'll work so hard, but we never really see ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now that I actually get to like see some of what I do,
like see almost, it third person.
Yeah, it almost makes me like even more like stoked and excited about like how good I am. Because sometimes if you don't see it, you're like, okay, well, I hear everyone say that it's good or whatever, but you haven't really seen it.
Yeah.
And then when you actually get to see it, well, and the other thing is too is then I can be like, oh, okay, here's what I did or didn't like about it. Okay, my
critiquing yourself
exactly,
in that way. Yeah.
And then even learn
and then improving more from there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like obviously like the content I'll put out in a few years from now will be 10 times better than what I have out now.
Yeah, you'll look back, you're like, oh man, I thought this.
Yeah. But at the same time, I was just right now, I'm just even glad to put anything out. The thing was, I finally had a place to film and a time to film, and I was like, all right, let's get some film out there, let's get the content out there, let's start pushing this, so that way when I do start putting out like more instructionals or technique based work, or like I said, just fun combinations. But there's so many like little quick drills I can give, be like, okay, here's a 2-minute drill to improve your left hook. Yeah. Here's a 1-minute drill to improve like your balance and power or something, and I could give people quick videos like that.
Give those quick hits to the people that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, longer than 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
This is way too much.
2 minutes, 23 seconds. Perfect. Perfect. Wait.
Yeah.
They'll drop it down to 2:16 if that's the case. They'll be like, I still have to cut it short.
Yeah.
So like,
they cut a minute 16 in, like, too long.
What
Just got to fill the last part.
Yeah, what else is out there? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So funny. Yeah. No, I'm sure you deal with that too, though, right?
Oh no, for sure. Well, it's just like anything. It's kind of like what you're alluding to in the beginning. We spent all this time learning, martial arts, but then we're like, oh shit, we didn't really think about the exposure kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like from there, oh, this is a whole different kind of thing. It's a whole different. I guess not, but it's a different kind of realm of completely of space. Like from there.
Yeah.
And
the thing is too is like I don't because there's always like the hater in you that like when you first see stuff and you're like, what the fuck, how is that guy successful, and then but at the same time,
then it's like back like film study, it's like, okay, what, breaking it down, okay, why is it, or like what is attracting the people like from there, and what can I learn from that?
And also the thing is too is like, are you really gonna hate on the guy because he was successful?
No, that's the thing. No, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because then it's like,
wait, people like you? Fuck you.
Fuck you. Yeah, fuck you because people like you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
you know? So it is like I said, it's obviously like the hater in you to be like, oh, this guy's successful. Oh, and then like hate on that. It's like, wait, why are you hating on somebody that like the goal for all of us is to have some type of success, Exactly. So, and the thing is too, is
props to that person for getting that success.
Exactly. Yeah, for them to get all those followers, because that and it might not have been an easy journey for them too.
Yeah, and then also knowing how getting followers as well. It's not like.
Right.
Yeah, you're like, oh man, I feel like I'm putting good quality out there. Why is it not happening?
Right.
And sometimes it's not. Yeah.
No, it's not relevant. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then the thing is too is like, because then there's a lot of people that will like just pay for a lot of it, and then originally I would like hate on that too, and it's like, man, that is what it is. Like, you just gotta focus on what you can do, and if people,
and what you can control.
Right. And the thing is like, okay, if people are successful that way, good for them. They still. That's
like social media steroids.
Right. And that's the other thing too.
False positives.
Like, yeah. Right. Well, that's the other thing too. Is like, how real is social media? And that's what I like. One thing that I do appreciate, at least with like, I was never like on it before. It wasn't like, or I'm not even making money now, but. At least YouTube can be like monetized in a more, I feel like, a better way than a lot of these other things, because a lot of them it's kind of just like a joke with the ads or the monetization of them, and it's like, at least with YouTube, it's like, okay, did people watch your shit? You get money.
There's actual analytics.
Yeah, yeah, and well, it's like, okay, people watched your shit, you get money. Not like, oh, okay, these people like you, so this company is gonna pay you for this ad, but it's for some like random stupid shit, you know, or like people sell ad space on their pages for some random stupid shit, and you're just like, what is this?
Oh man, I need a box.
Before
I do, how about some vacuums?
At least if like people are watching you on YouTube, it's because they're watching you. You know, it's not like, okay,
they sought you out. No algorithm kind of brought them.
Or they like, it wasn't because fucking you had Blue Chew or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Like, Blue Chew. This guy must.
Oh yeah, he's got a Blue Chew discount. Fuck yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, no, it's like people actually wanted to watch your shit, and then so obviously YouTube needs advertising and stuff, so whatever's on there, but I just feel like it's a better way to get paid for your value for what you're doing. But I mean, but at the same time, it's still not like it's real. You're still not like,
it's still not a real thing.
Well, so the thing is like somebody might be putting out the best shit, but still not have any monetization, and then somebody might be putting out some fucking garbage and have all the monetization. You know, so but whatever, that's life, and you just gotta stick with it.
That's life.
In general.
And like, and how can you, if it's beyond your control, why worry about it?
Right. And that's the thing is like, you can't fucking hate on other people's success. You just really gotta
fuck
focus
you
on
because you're successful.
Yeah, exactly. And people like you.
Yeah.
What? I don't like that people like you. You know. And that's the thing is like, and then obviously audiences are so relative too. Like, yeah, but maybe they do have a dumb audience, but they do have a big dumb audience.
Yeah,
you know? So it's
and
like,
the numbers don't lie.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of yeah, so it, you know, but and you know, what do you really want from this? Do you just want monetization? Do you want to share knowledge? What do you want to actually get out of it? Like, what you're
it's like, well, it's there. Like what's the purpose?
Right,
like, for sure.
Right. And some people, and that's the thing, some people put out garbage because the only purpose was money.
Yes.
You know, so it's like, okay, I'm just gonna put this garbage out.
Well, that's their end goal. They got it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. So perfect, cool. You put out the garbage, and people, and that's the thing. Like, if there's one thing I've learned about coronavirus, it's people love garbage and they love being lied to.
Yeah.
They love garbage and they love to be lied. If we lie to them more and we give them more garbage, they will keep loving us.
They'll eat it up.
And they love us.
Yeah.
And you're just like, how do people like garbage and being lied to? I don't like either of those things.
I think because it's probably just easier to
it's
to
way
accept,
easier.
because reality is like is a harder thing to accept.
Yeah. Well, they got to work. Yeah. And everyone.
Well, it's an unpleasant truth. That's why.
Yeah. And the thing is that exactly. Not everybody's gonna fucking make it. You might. Yeah. That's the other thing too. You might fucking work your ass off and just
still
fail.
Not get. Yeah. I mean, just like what we're talking about is like sometimes there's some people put out great content and then there's like there's no following whatsoever.
Or like with fighting, I was like, I'm gonna be fucking pro in 4 years.
Easy.
Yeah. When I was 18, I was like 22.
I'm gonna knock everyone out.
When kids are out, that's what Chris Lieben told me. I'm gonna knock everybody out. When I was 17, I'm gonna knock everybody out. Yeah. I was like, in 4 years, when everyone goes to college, by the time they're done with college, I'm gonna be a pro fighter. You know, there's shit like that you get in your mind, and then you're like, hey, tore my ankle here for 6 months. He did this happened. Then you're like, okay, I'm a little behind schedule.
But you know what? Still,
and then next thing you know, you're just like, okay, fucking. Now I'm 35 and my fight career didn't work out, you know, but at the same time now I can still fucking I know lessons that the thing is I can take all the lessons I learned from like what I didn't do well in fights or what I should have done better and teach those better than I probably could have if I had done them well, because maybe I wouldn't have learned those lessons. Yeah. You know, there's some people that like do things well and they're not even sure how or why that they did it well or what they saw.
Yeah, they're not consciously competent of what happened like from there.
Yeah, they didn't actually like process it. They're just I just went out there and fucking did it.
I did it.
I'm better than this
that's
guy.
it. Yeah.
Like fucking, and that's the thing, right? Like fucking John Jones throwing lead elbows as like a jab on Rashad. Yeah. It's like, you know, that's not gonna.
You can't coach that.
But also, it's like that's not gonna be something that DJ's gonna do. Yeah. You know, or I'm, you know, so it's like everything is just, you know, like. Yeah, you can't coach that. You know, it's like what, you know.
Oh, just be taller, longer, and more athletic than that guy. Easy.
Yeah.
Done.
So it's like So and don't get me wrong, I'm sure John can coach how to do it with people, but it's not like once again it's gonna be who the hell can do it. You got to be fucking have a 12-inch longer reach and probably have bigger frame and this and that or whatever. But which was the case, right? But anyways, it's just like I want to make sure that or what I learned from not being able to be successful in my own fight career is what I hope makes me successful as a teacher. You know what I'm saying?
In the next
step.
level.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There,
And that was the thing, was my goal was never even to be, I was never like, oh, I'm going to be world champion. I'm going to be this or that. My goal was always just be like, I'm going to be the best that I can. But I always figured the best I can would get me to be a high level pro. So I was like, fuck. Like
easy.
Yeah. And I'm not, like, because I remember when I was in high school, like, I think Uriah was like just coming up as like a bigger name, because it was like 03, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was like, yeah, about like 07, 08, I'm fighting Uriah, you know, like
Uriah favorite.
Yeah, exactly. So like things like that were like in my mind, right? Mm-hmm. And you know, I think in 07 or 08 I did fight DJ. I'm just joking. But anyways, but I did lose. But anyways, but obviously DJ wasn't a superstar back then. You know, we were still all just amateurs training. But that is funny though, right? But that's the claim to fame.
Yeah.
But what's even funnier is one time, like, DJ was putting out this, like, people will make random highlight videos of DJ all the time. Yeah. And somebody made a random highlight video, and it had a clip of him hitting an overhand in the fight, and I was like, that's the only overhand he landed, and damn it, and this will put it in the fucking video. I was laughing my ass off. But anyways, so that was funny. But so what I wasn't able to accomplish through my own fight career, I hope to make it, like, I never really, that was never the main goal, was be like, okay, I'm going to be UFC champ or this or that. I was always just trying to focus on being the best martial artist I could be. Yeah. And then I figured that would, in the long run, help make me be able to, like, one, I did think I would be in as a high level guy, but at the same time now I feel like I didn't make it there, but I can still be a high level coach and coach people to that level, because I've been around that level my entire life. Yeah, you know. And
you're working towards becoming a better coach and martial artist. Like
And I've seen what people, I've seen what it took people to become champions at almost every weight class.
And at pretty much every level.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, okay, I've been around it. I know what it takes to succeed. And then the thing is too, is I know that sometimes you might even do everything to succeed and you won't.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, it's a tough pill to swallow, but that's also reality. Like, that's the unpleasant truth that a lot of people don't want to hear. Yeah. But sometimes you can do everything right and things still don't go your way.
Right. I think, and that's the thing. I think, like, martial arts helped us within life in general, especially during times like coronavirus.
Doing that mental toughness.
Yeah. Well, and also just being like, you know what? A left hook might fucking come out of nowhere, dude.
And just drop you. Yeah. Happened to me. But
oh shit. Yeah. Literally.
No, just literally, right? Yeah, but that's shit happens,
exactly.
Man.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Literally. Right. My bad.
Yeah. No.
Exactly.
It's like, can't change that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So why worry about it?
Right. It's, and also that's just fucking reality. You know, it's like we're so used to being like, okay, this was our path, but guess what? It didn't happen, and so now we gotta. You can't fucking sulk in it for that long.
You can't just throw a pity party and you're like, well, life's over. Here we go.
You know what? Nobody's going to go to work on Monday now. I lost on Saturday night.
Life still goes on.
Not one person is going to show up to work on Monday. That was another thing too, right? It's like being able to, like, learn that, you know, your fight isn't the end of the world, you know, and just make it so, okay, like, there's tomorrow, you know, tomorrow's going to happen.
Tomorrow still happens.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
sun's still going to go up.
Right, whether I'm here or not, whether I won or lost, you know, so that type of perspective also just helps you, like, kind of be like, okay, what's next? And we're always also, you know, we're planning for that left hook, but at the same time, if we didn't see it, fuck it, we got to move on. You know, you can't.
Life goes on. Like,
and then we'll just hopefully we'll learn from it, and it won't happen again. Yeah. You know, but at the same time, you know, fuck, who knows? Maybe we'll, you know, never get that another shot. You know,
maybe not get another shot, but also living your life. Like, worrying about that left hook isn't going to help you either.
No. Like, or even worrying about that other shot, dude. Move the fuck on. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the thing. That's like, because people will talk to me about fighting. They'll be like, don't you want to fight? And I'll be like, I guess sometimes, like, but
also for what, though?
And everything would just have to line up perfect. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, if shit wasn't, like, I'm not going to fucking, go struggle to do that? You know, fuck no. You know, I'm going to make sure, like, there's enough of a struggle anyways. When I'm doing everything
when you're doing everything right,
there's gonna be some sort of struggle. So why would I want to add to that struggle by straight up making these decisions that, like, aren't in line with reality? You know.
Like, reality's definitely shown you, like, something.
Right. You know, and so you just gotta, okay, now I'm already in line based on reality versus trying to realign based on, you know, whatever the hell people are basing things on.
Yeah, like a fantasy land. Like from
which
that.
is unfortunately becoming
more and more common.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But hey, man, but that's the unpleasant truth. Like from
right,
there, you know?
right, and that's why that's one of the things that I like love about like combat sports and all these other things in general is like it's so rare that you're gonna have like these types of barriers in combat sports because we're all beating each other up so often.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. You're not gonna. And the thing is, you might get beat up by a guy that like looks like a nerd. You might get you're going to get beat up by somebody and everybody. So it's like to hate on any like race or gender or anything like that is so like not even in your mind.
Yeah, it's
when
like
you're in
why
combat sports, you know, or at least when you're in it like how we are, you know, where you're surrounded by everyone and everything. So it makes I feel like it makes like people a better like almost more aware of being tribal in a sense of okay, like we're all trying to be in this shit together and not and so but also if we're not, there's somebody that could fuck you up really bad too.
Yeah.
And then, you know, so it's just like there's so many things where that combat sports ends up turning relevant, or it is relevant to life in so many ways, because it's like if more people trained, we wouldn't probably be in this unrealistic situation we're in right now. You know what I'm saying?
So pretty much more people should train Bonafide Boxing.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah.
Bonafide Boxing on YouTube and also Bonafide Boxing on Instagram. Right?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man.
You know, man, no problem. I appreciate you.
Thank
and
you,
it's been Mike Briggs. Thank you, guys.